What is good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon, and welcome to Black Family Time Videos. Today, I wanted to start a new segment with this with this channel. Basically, talking about like Black family issues, things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Opening it up with a open forum. You guys can drop some comments below. I'll be doing this segment quite often. Telling me, what kind of problems you guys have that you want to discuss, and we can discuss it on this segment on this platform. Today, I have my boy Seiji Hito. He's been a long time friend. Has a very successful YouTube channel. He talks about issues that most people don't want to hear. Is that fair to say, Seiji?
Bars.
Yeah. Most people don't want to hear, you know what I'm saying? But, it's one of those things, man. It needs to be talked about. In order to get over something, you got to have a conversation about. But today's conversation that we're going to have, and it's about talking about black fatherhood. We're going to go with some of the issues. We're going to talk about some of the issues that basically evolve around black fatherhood today, what happened in the past, some of the stuff that we can do to try to improve our families, because that's what's important. That's why the whole reason I built this channel is to start a conversation about bettering black families. You know what I'm saying? And always, and hopefully we can keep this positive and go from there. Seiji, tell me a little bit about your channel, man, and then we're gonna go right into our little topic.
My channel mostly revolves around a variety of issues when it mainly deals with policing, either in the community and or other communities. And I use those stories as an example for, you know, black people and other people to, possibly learn from, because what happens to one group will soon enough roll over and affect everybody else. But of course, you have some people out here who are hard of hearing. Um, so,
Yep.
hmm,
Okay. So, all right. Well, that's basically what he does in a nutshell. I believe you somewhere around like what, 49K subscribers, guys.
uh,
May
I would say it's probably about, let me, if I can, I don't even know if I can look at it right now. I would say it's probably about closer to about 48. Yeah, it's about close to like, yeah,
Yeah.
48, 49.
So you guys go ahead, check him out. Link will be in the description below. Check him out. But we're gonna get right into the nitty gritty, and this talking about like black fatherhood. I personally, I'm a father of three. I have a 2 year old, 3 year old, and an 11 year old. Um, Two boys, one girl. Love them to death, bro. Love them to death. A lot of a lot of what my upbringing was is I kind of had to stitch it together for myself of what I believe a black father should represent, and I try to apply um, those principles in my daily life with far as bringing my kids up into the world we know today. Um, Sadie, I'll let you tell a little bit about your background. I like for you to to be the one to tell basically your situation with that.
Well, are we going over the
Just an introduction, like far as like what you know as black fatherhood and all that.
okay. Let me see a little bit for me. I had the main role models that I had were basically the men growing up. So I had to take the, as I like to call, like the cookie cutter
Mm.
or gingerbread man approach, which was layering together all of the positive role models that I had into an image that I can model myself after, and hopefully try to walk correctly off of that.
Yeah.
The first time I met my father, I want to say I was about 18, should have been like 18 or 19.
Mm-hmm.
He has
Dang.
a, huh?
He said 18 or 19? Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was, a lot older, but it's like for me, I didn't care. I just wanted to, have a relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
He has, a family, and he's married and things like that, which is great, which is awesome. Um, but that was pretty much the first day I met him was also the last day I met him because we didn't really,
Vibe
um,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't that. It was just that, he didn't really try to at all keep in, contact. I
Mm-hmm.
feel that if, you know that you have another child out there that as a parent you would want to, have that contact,
Yeah.
that emotional, um, connection with that child. And, I guess obviously that just wasn't on his mind or, that's not what he was looking for.
Right.
But due to that aspect of me growing up without a father, a lot of the relationships that I had were with women who had kids. And, I took up, I guess, the role or the job to at least be there for them or to be that positive role model in a child's life as best as I could, even at, a young age, even, though they weren't my kids at all.
Right. Okay. All right. So, yeah, going into that, basically, we can talk about a little bit more of what the issues we see at in black society, black families today when it comes to having a role model. I actually personally, I'm a little bit of a disciplinarian when it comes to my kids because I guess when it comes to that, I my one of my first jobs I took up is working in like corrections, working with juveniles and stuff like that. And I understand the importance that being in that child's life, really takes effect on, how the outside world conceives you and like how you want to be represented. So I took a approach that that made myself a little bit of a disciplinarian when it comes to my kids because one, I grew up under this aspect. My mom told me, what I'm saying, if I don't do this for you, somebody else will do it, and it's gonna be 10 times worse. Did you have a
Right.
similar conversation like that? Said,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So, and I basically, had to grit my teeth and like actually, had those conversations with my oldest kid. My younger two are not there yet, but they're getting there. Um, it's how they should be represented in the world today. A lot of it starts with a conversation. I believe as a black father, you know what I'm saying. Especially
Sure.
if you're dealing with males, you're dealing with boys. That hey, we have to give them that two strike speech. And a,
Yeah.
a lot of us know that, from the granted, like, or they take for granted that it's actually like that, or they're just ignorant to the fact. But of course, we have that two strike, society thing that we have to look at and go from there. My boy is 11 years old now. You know what I'm saying, and as society, dictates, he's already looked at like he's, being demonized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like media, if this boy was to, get in some kind of conflict with the cops or, law enforcement, that, there's a stereotype out there that he's, this, you know, problem child and just for him, being this killer, and is that fair to say from your perspective? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That
Either, problem child, armed and dangerous, or, they're ready to, as they like to say, put their bodies in a bladed stance, like, all that nonsense.
yeah, and I have to have those conversations with him, just to say, hey, you need to be careful, be wise to the fact that there are people out there, unfortunately, that are willing to hurt you over, over a stereotype or a figure. I'm not saying that, we didn't aid in, as a, black people, that we didn't aid in that as well. But, that stereotype exists, and that's how we need to be careful with, our kids, and letting them know that. Um, my father never really told me anything like that. Of course, this is all trial by fire, how we do things in life anyway. But I that's something I never learned from my father, how to walk in this world as a man growing forward. Not saying he wasn't around. I knew who my father was. For those out there asking that question, um, he wasn't a guy I looked up to follow, if that's fair to say. And I had to do similar what you had to do, Seiji, and piece together what my image of what a man should be in this world, today.
Mhm.
Another one of the other things I wanted to touch on is that why do you think that we have those stereotypes about black black men, black fathers not being in the families, or not being as involved in families? And today, why do we have that stereotype in your perspective?
Um, I don't know. That one's goes quite a few places.
Yeah.
Because I say the funny thing about it is, growing up, the first people that I learned about not having fathers in their homes was from white kids when I was going through, private schools, and also, hearing a lot of those stories from the Wild West where, John would leave Sarah to go venture out and try to look for gold and this, that, and the third. Because a lot of my friends, like even now, they have their fathers. Their parents are married, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it's usually the other way around when it comes to the divorce rate and the broken home, the alcoholic father and the abusive father. This is when a lot of those white kids would come up, normally in goth, or they would normally be the bully in school, and this, that, and the third. But that's only because they come from a broken home with a very abusive parent, and since they can't and they don't have the real power to fight them back, they choose to use that anger, and pour it out on other people. And I feel because of those stories, you have society and the media that want to try and further demonize black men. Not saying that we don't have broken homes,
Hmm.
but as much as they like to sit up there and say, we have to really look at that as a whole.
Yeah.
um, because it's almost the same thing as touching on the fact that people want to think that our kids or our black men 9 times out of 10 are drug dealers, or they're carrying a gun,
Or they
or
football players or athletes, and
yeah, like the
yeah,
normal stereotypes. Like you
yeah,
never hear them talking about, oh yeah, black kids are very smart, intuitive, they're intelligent, they know how to invent, they're very good when it comes to playing the piano, or jazz, or different things like that.
yeah,
It's all some type of, in a sense, programming to both make black people, well, black men feel less than and inferior, and also to make it so that other groups of people, especially white women, don't deem black men or black young boys as any type of a proper suitor when compared to white men. It all boils down for me to an inferiority complex and fear.
okay. That's like most anything. People fear what they don't really understand. But basically,
Correct.
um, what I in going it just to touch on that just a bit more, um, those stereotypes and stuff like that. I pride myself on being what I am as a dad. You know what I'm saying? I always feel like, like as a child, what would I be as a man? How would my kids look at me? You know what I'm saying? And basically moving forth in this world today. So one of the weird things that I always get, and I maybe I shouldn't feel this way. You know what I'm saying? People, I'm carrying my kids around, maybe my little ones around, and people come up to me basically saying, "Oh man, I'm so proud of you." I'm happy that you're doing well, and it's good to see a man like you, aka a black man like you, taking care of his kids. I never looked at that like a compliment. Reason why. I never looked at that like a compliment because it's things we're supposed to do anyway. It should come natural. You know what I'm saying? And for people to, basically come up and say, "Hey, I'm proud of you." It's good to see that you basically, you're not doing what the status quo is. It's like those people, and these are black people too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like they accepted that stereotype as a possibility that it always happens. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they come up with this so-called compliment. I never take it as that because you never want to get rewarded for something that you're supposed to just do on a daily basis anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that always strike me as odd. It's one of the things that led up to, me actually doing this video and making this channel is, promoting black families. You know what I'm saying? Showing that we can fight off these stereotypes. You got anything to chime in on that?
You talking about just specifically on the backhanded compliments, or
the backhanded compliments? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not a compliment. It's almost the same thing when white people walk up to somebody black. It's like, "Oh, your child is like he's so clean and proper. He speaks very well." It's like, how else is he supposed to speak?
Yeah. Well, what is talking black and what's talking white? You know what I'm saying? So
like, how else is he supposed to sound like? Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
When it all really kind of divulge onto the the English language, what I'm saying? We all supposed to be talking the same anyway.
Right.
What is proper, proper being talking white, and ebonics is meaning talking black. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So but more or less, man, I really appreciate, Seiji coming in. You didn't have to, basically, you didn't have to come through like that, man, for me, chiming on this video. Yeah, you know it, bro. You guys drop some comments below. Tell me what you think about the topic of black fatherhood. If there, decent, comments and everything, we can revisit this topic, come back to it, and, chime in a little bit more on it. This is really like a test run for me. I wanted to, run this segment and see how it does, Seiji's going to probably do his own version of it here soon. You can be able to check that out on his channel as well. You guys subscribe to both our channels. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button, ring the notification bell, because you never know. More or less, we're going to do another segment, and we probably want to get you on and talk about the same things. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, I'm Brandon, and this is Seiji Hito over there. Seiji, you got anything to add before we click out of here?
All black everything.
Right on. All right, guys. Catch y'all later. Deuces. Be safe out there.
Peace.